Hey, what's happening, everybody? On this episode, I wanted to talk some more about space. It was crazy to me that space is something that most people, I don't ever hear talking about it. And I don't know, it's crazier. I don't know, it's just really crazy to me because it's out there, it's all the time, and it is endless as far as we're concerned. And nobody really seems to talk too much about it. I've watched a lot of stuff on the History Channel back when it used to be educational shit on there. Stuff about space, and on the Discovery Channel, Science Channel, things like that. Stuff on YouTube. And I don't know, I've learned a lot of things that are just mind-blowing. You know, I've seen like the Milky Way. It's 100,000 light years across. So that means if you were traveling at 186,000 miles a second, it would take you 100,000 years to cross just to the other side of our galaxy, which compared to some galaxies is very, very small. There was something, I think you can find it on YouTube, but there was something showing the comparison sizes of different, our planet, the sun, our galaxy, maybe our solar system, and then the galaxy, and then it shows other ones like these cluster galaxies where they're not spinning like ours is. These things are so big that if it were like, say about that big, the Milky Way would be a little speck down here compared to it. And they think that it's estimated that roughly we have like 100 million billion either stars or planets. I think it's stars. But either way, there's a lot of fucking stars out there. And I don't know if anyone's ever seen there's a picture of the galaxy, say it's like this, and there's this little tiny circle, and it says that all the stars you can see at nighttime with the naked eye are just inside that little bitty circle on the galaxy, which I didn't know that until recently. That's pretty fucking profound, because some of the stars that we could see, some of them are 80 something light years away, 100 light years away. So all of that is just a little speck of what we can see. And I've lived around a city my whole life, so you can't really see the stars that well at night around here. You can see some. You can always see the 5 planets you can see with the naked eye. You can always see those on a clear night. Every now and then too, I'm guessing it's a satellite, although I had always assumed that satellites just kind of go around the globe and not over the top of it. But there's been several different occasions where at night I'll be standing outside. I've actually seen it at my place now, and it's decently bright outside until the lights go off at the school. When the lights shut off, it gets really dark out. But I believe even with the lights on one night, I could see it, and it's always going from south to north. This is real faint little. It looks like a really dim star, but if you watch it, you can see it moving, and it's moving at a pretty fucking fast speed. I don't know exactly, but depending on where I'm at, like say I got an open area, from off in the distance, it's gonna have to get somewhat close where I can be able to see something that small. But from when you first can see it and you watch it, within a few minutes, it's gone. So I just gotta be moving quick. Now I'm assuming it's a satellite. The space station, I think, goes around the globe. And I've never knowingly saw that, although I've heard you can, but I maybe got to be in a darker area. But, I don't know, it's crazy. 186,000 miles a second. The Earth is about a little over 24,000 miles around, but I've also heard that it's wider than it is tall by just a little bit. But let's just say, if you can move at the speed of light and go around the Earth, and you had a clear shot, say you could fly like Superman, so you don't have to worry about running, you just ride over the water and everything. If you could go around the globe at the speed of light, that's so fast. 24,100 something miles roughly. That's so fast, you'd almost think that you would be able to take off and then come all the way around the Earth and tap yourself on the back before you know what I mean? Like, I don't know that that's what would happen. I'm just saying that's really fast. But in space terms, it's nothing. It's nothing. That's, in space terms, that's the old lady in the fast lane on a major highway doing about 30 miles an hour, trying to get all the way across the country. It's gonna take some time, you know. But I don't know. It just blows my mind that everything we know is right here. And here is a big place. This is a big ass place. I mean, even the state of Indiana, it's a decent sized state. You go from north to south, from like, I live right real close, I mean, within 10 miles of Lake Michigan. The very southern end of Lake Michigan where it rounds out, we live right out there. And to go from there all the way down 65, which is a major highway that cuts, like, it goes across at an angle. So from the northwest corner through Indianapolis, right in the middle of the state, down, I think it takes you a little bit off to the eastern side of the bottom of the state. It's like a 6-7 hour drive just to get down there. And I mean, you know, driving highway speeds. Man, space is just, it's huge. I think I lost my point there. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just never endingness in every direction. Now, our galaxy is kind of like a flat type disc, you know, the spinning, but I mean, from top to bottom, it's a big fucking distance too. But I don't know, just even outside of the galaxy, you keep going, there's gonna be other galaxies and other places and all kind of worlds out there we've never seen. Now, as far as alien life, I mean, now that scientists know that there are planets, pretty much at least one planet around every star that you see, pretty much, it's my understanding of it. Don't ever quote anything I say, because I might be a little off on some details, although, you know, I try to know my shit. But I mean, I would imagine there's got to be life somewhere. There's got to be something someplace. But when scientists are always talking about the habitable zone, now I understand that you have to have this fucking phone, man. I understand that when you're trying to find life out there, you got to have a starting point. And we know that planets that have conditions like Earth, that it is at least possible to have life. But the thing that I always wonder about is, what if life out there doesn't need anything of the stuff that we need to live? You know, what if there's something out there that breathes carbon dioxide and breathes out oxygen? You know, or so like our atmosphere would be terrible for it, or something that live like that. Or what if there's something out there that just doesn't need to breathe? It's just not part of their bodily functions. They don't need air of any kind to live. You know, I mean, just here on Earth, we see that life can pop up pretty much anywhere. The bottom of the ocean, the desert. I mean, there's always, in many varying conditions, life somehow exists. You know, and I'm sure there's something out there. As far as, do I think that we've ever been visited by aliens? Well, I think it was Neil deGrasse Tyson that I heard talking about this. And I always wondered if it was possible. You know, hey, maybe something has been here before, or I don't know. But hearing if it was him, I think it was him. But whoever it was, this person was saying that all the radio and television broadcasts that we've been airing for the last, I don't know, since radio and television, we'll say 100 years. I don't know exactly, but it's probably right about around there for radio. And then you have television and stuff like that later on. That around the Earth, there's just this sphere, I don't know what it's called, I forget the name, where those communications have reached, because they just sent them out into space, and we happen to pick them up with satellites and however the hell else they pick these things up. But this sphere of our communications is just forever getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So right now, there's about the number might not be exact, but I'm just giving you a rough idea. We'll say it's 100 light year circle all the way around the Earth where those transmissions that went out. Now, if there is life, and if it's intelligent life, it would not only have to be intelligent, but it would also have to have a radio tuner, a receiver, or some kind of an instrument that can pick up. Like, what if there's a intelligent life out there that just never created a television? You know, what if they find a different way to do stuff, or what if it's not even relevant? Or what if they haven't gotten there yet? They would never even notice. They would never hear the signal. They would go right past them, and they'd never know the difference. Now, I don't know what happens. I mean, if it's supposed to be this like sphere around the Earth that's just getting bigger and bigger, I'd imagine if one day they came up with like a radio or a television, that they might be able to pick those signals up still in the air. I don't know if that's how that works or not, or if that signal just passes by them one time and that's it. I don't know. But they would have to know about it. So think about this. If you were, say if there was another, on the other side of the Milky Way, there's an advanced civilization, far more advanced than us, and they're out searching for life out everywhere else. Well, if they're even looking in the direction of our star and the planet Earth, if they're even looking that direction, which, mind you, 100 million billion stars, I mean, the chances of them looking at us, I'd say, are pretty slim, but it's not possible, I'd imagine. But they're going to have to look, and like how we, like scientists now, can see how the light passes through the atmosphere around planets, and they can tell what the atmosphere is made up of. Now, something like that, they'd have to look at Earth, and if the conditions for life here happen to be the same as there, you know, and then they see, okay, well, there's an atmosphere, and it's got this and that, and it's the right distance from their star, so life is possible. Now, as we've already found, there's other planets like Earth out there, so we ain't the only one, you know, that has a similar makeup to its planet. So, if an advanced civilization was looking for life elsewhere, there's got to be many planets that are similar to how Earth is constructed. Now, say they're looking, and the light, if they're, I mean, like, just lighting up cities, I'm just going to go with 100 years. I'm sure it hasn't been quite 100 years, but I don't know exactly when, you know, you could start seeing cities from space, because we were lighting up cities before we can ever go to space. So I don't know how light and dark, but we'll say 100 years. If they're on the other side of the galaxy, they're still got about 99,900 years before the light from our cities lighting up the night would ever even reach them to begin with. So anywhere outside of 100 light years, they're not going to see that. They're not going to be able to see that as our planet passes in front of our star. They're not going to see the backside of it lit up until, you know, it's been that many years. And however, if they're 300 light years away from us, then it's got 200 years to wait before they ever start to see that. Now, an advanced civilization on the far side of the planet, or the far side of the galaxy, if they happen to spot Earth, and they see what it's made up of, and whatever else, okay, and if they decide we're going to take this trip for 100,000 years at the speed of light, which I believe was something with Einstein, and if you move the speed of light, that your time stays the same, passes by normal, but time everywhere else, or I guess we'll say Earth, because as far as we know, might not be any life out there, but they're like, if you went out into space at the speed of light for like a year and came back, you're going to be way in the future, because our time is going to be moving different relative to your time. So you're only going to age that 1 year, while the rest of the Earth ages shit. Who knows? I don't really know the calculations, but it's going to be way in the future. That's the premise for Planet of the Apes, the original one, because they went into space at the speed of light, and they crashed. They thought they were on some foreign planet because, you know, humans were wild or enslaved or whatever, and the monkeys had taken over. So they didn't realize it was just in the future. Now, whether or not that's true, I don't know. I don't know if scientists officially say they've proven that or not, but just say, alright, 100,000 years at the speed of light, your own planet's going to be fucking, it might not even be there by the time you get to Earth. So you have to make this trip and either have You'd either have to be like a robot with consciousness, like maybe they've created robots that put their consciousness inside of these robots so they don't need sleep or food or air or anything else. Maybe they just put themselves to sleep for that trip. So if that's the case, the robots at home could still very well be there 100,000 years later. But the planet could still have been destroyed by something, or if an asteroid hits, a giant asteroid would hit a planet, it sends out an electromagnetic pulse and just encircles the globe. So it'd fry anybody that's got consciousness in a robot. You're toast. But alright, so they get all the way out here 100,000 years later. Now, depending on when they started that journey, they may have gotten here when the dinosaurs were still here, or they might just completely overshoot the entire existence of human beings. They might show up in the year 5072. I don't know. I don't know exactly how many, for how much time you travel at the speed of light, how far ahead that puts you in the future. I don't know that. I'm sure there's a formula for it, but they might completely overshoot. We might have all wiped ourselves out or died from a disease, or who knows, by the time they get here, we might all be on Mars and Earth be ruined because of what we've done to it. And they're like, well, shit, we got here, and, looks like there was something, but we can't find them. There's not enough skeletons. We don't know what happened to everybody. They're just gone. And meanwhile, we're over here on Mars not realizing that intelligent life showed up to Earth. But you never know. We might be killed off by an asteroid or something before they get here. So, even if, 100,000 years they get here, and then they got a radio home and say, hey, we found life. That's going to take another 100,000 years for that signal to get back home, and then another 100,000 years for that signal to get back. You know what I mean? So even if it's 1,000 light years away, something for 1,000 years. 1,000 years is a long fucking time. Look at how different the world is from 1,000 years ago. Shit, this whole half of the globe was unknown to those in the Eastern Hemisphere because they hadn't been here yet, as far as we know. But I don't know. So anyways, just the journey alone makes it extremely hard. Now, the only way that I think that would really be possible is if they're only a light year or two away from us. Maybe they're 4 light years away, and maybe somehow they're able to make this happen. Maybe they have some technology that prevents maybe it keeps their time as they're moving at the speed of light the same as their home planet. Maybe that's possible. Maybe they don't even fucking know what time is. Maybe they didn't create time, because it's just a man-made invention anyways. There's no such thing as time. We live in a perpetual, never-ending now, and that's it. What I just said there, that's already the past. A second ago, it was the present, and a few seconds before that, it was the future. And it's just always now. The state of things is always changing, but there's no such thing as day or night. Days, 20 days, or hey, a whole 24-hour day. It's just something we made up to keep schedules, to keep people working, I guess. But I think the only possible way is if they're really close to us and they've seen the cities lighting up and all that, or if something like a wormhole was possible, then okay, then all bets are off, because they might come from an Andromeda galaxy and just pop out right here, little ways out, maybe right behind the moon, so we don't see them. Which I think the moon is fascinating. It is unbelievable that this gigantic rock is just spinning around our planet. I seen this video on YouTube, and it was something like saying that, I can't even think of who it was. It was Vsauce. I think it might have been that channel. But saying how you're never ever in the same place twice. Now, you may be in the same place on Earth, but your position, according to space, is always different. Because now you've got the moon circling us every 30 days. And we circle the sun every 365 days, or 365.24 days, which is interesting because I learned about leap year day, and that was pretty fucking interesting. I did not know quite that much about it, but it's very interesting how leap day came to be. and how it's not exactly, because it's 0.24. If it's 0.25, then every 4 years we just add an extra day and that's it. Because it's 0.24, that creates other problems. So I have to watch it again, but it's like we had a leap year day in 2000. That is an extremely rare event to happen on a 1,000, maybe it's every 1,000 years or every 100 years. It doesn't happen all that often. And I didn't realize that on that day, how remarkable that day was. Because it's like, I don't know if it's every 100 years. It's like anything divisible by 400 or by 4. I don't know. I don't even want to say it because I have to watch it again. I'll talk about it in another episode. But I don't know. It's crazy. So we're spinning around the sun, but the sun is spinning around the Milky Way galaxy, and it takes a shitload of time to get all the way around. I forget how many years. I just had looked that up not too long ago too. But as the sun is moving through, like the Earth's playing catch-up part of the year, it's got to keep. So, as the sun's moving, the Earth has to go behind and then catch back up and then keep coming. Sorry about the shitty special effects. I don't know how to edit shit, so gotta, do all my little diagrams here. But as the sun is going around the Milky Way is moving through space too. And they have like a line that they start, so it shows it like, although that video showed the sun going and that instead of us catching up, at one point it looked like that's how it was showing it, and at another time it shows it like if it's moving this way, the Earth was going like this. So I don't know which one that was, but either way, it's still pretty damn interesting that we're just hurling through space. I looked up different planets to see like Jupiter, and Mars is roughly 2 Earth years is a Mars year. But Jupiter and Saturn, I think it's Saturn. It's like 27 years or something crazy. I don't know if that's exact either. Sorry, I should look this shit up, but I didn't really know exactly what I was going to talk about. But it's like in my whole lifetime, Saturn will only probably make 4 or 5 trips around the sun, and that's it. And think about it, it's kind of crazy. There's this gigantic gas planet with these massive rings around it that's just fucking flying through space too. Going around the sun too. And it just keeps going. It don't care if we're here or not. It doesn't matter. It just keeps on going around. Another cool thing is the Voyager satellites. In the 70s, I don't know the exact year, I don't remember the exact year, but they sent out 2 satellites, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. And they had the golden record on it where it has some music from different stuff. There's a Chuck Berry song, Johnny Be Good is on. That's kind of cool. Some orchestra, symphony music, and it has greetings in like 60 different languages, and sound of a baby crying, a waterfall, different things like that. So if anybody or any life out there ever found it, it has directions on how to play it. So if they can figure that out, they could actually hear this. But I was thinking too, like if some major catastrophic event happened, like an asteroid that hit the planet that just completely wiped out everything, all forms of life, like basically turn us into a Mars-like planet, that even if we were long gone and this place is just nothing but a desert without an atmosphere and no way that life could live here, those 2 satellites will still be making their way outward and outward and outward. And that you never know. It may take 5 billion years, but at some point somebody may find that. And it apparently has directions on how to get here, or where we're at in the Milky Way galaxy, which I don't know if that's really a good idea. But, if somebody does find it and they can get here, let's hope they're friendly. But that's just really cool. That's really cool. We could all die from a plague, though. Everybody get wiped out, even if there's still animals and shit living, but plants and things. But if we're long gone, those things will always be moving out there. And at some point in the last few years, I think they're having a debate about exactly where the edge and end of our actual little solar system is. But I believe that they think that it has made its way into interstellar space and that it's officially left our solar system. So I don't know what they finally decided on, but if that's gonna be, if it's made it past whatever point, but it's fucking far out there. They have a picture, and it's just a little white dot. Right as it was supposedly leaving our solar system, they had to turn around and take a picture of Earth, and we're this little speck, little barely lit up speck. And it's crazy that and I forget who the guy was saying. I'm gonna try to steal somebody's quote here, but the guy was saying that everything you've ever known, everything we've ever done, anyone's ever lived or died, any amazing thing and every bad thing and everything that's happened. And this quote isn't verbatim. I'm just throwing it out there, but everything we've ever known is right on that little tiny dot out in the middle of infinity. That's something to think about. But a lot of people, it doesn't seem like, I know there are people that do, but there's just so many people that have no interest in space. And you know what, maybe in their lifetime space really won't play much of a factor, except for the fact that we live in fucking space. Our entire lives are dependent upon what does or does not happen out there. If the sun just all of a sudden burn out, which I don't know if I doubt that's even possible. Well, I guess anything could be possible, but that's not something that should happen. But if it just decided one day to go dark, we're fucked. We are completely fucked. Fucked. I mean, we're in deep shit. We have no contingency for that. I mean, they have shelters and stuff for the the elite and the people that run the country and things like that, but if you're never going to have daylight again, you're not going to really be able to come out of the bunkers permanently. You're going to have to pretty much spend forever inside of these places. And I thought about that too. Imagine being born in a situation like that. Imagine being born inside of a bunker after some crazy catastrophic thing has happened, like the sun went out, And being born in this thing, and your entire life, you know nothing about any of this. Nothing. I mean, whatever people remember or tell you or information they have, but it's like you don't know this. Just like people that have been born since, 2000, most of them have maybe early on, but most of them don't know life without the internet. People, born after 2007, they don't know life without a smartphone. They don't know what it's like to not have that shit. They don't realize how really beautiful it was in the 90s when almost nobody had cell phones still, and there were payphones everywhere. And people just couldn't just blow you up all day, and there weren't phone zombies walking around. But, just saying though, so say you get born in a bunker like that, and most of the people in the world are already long dead, and they can't grow food outside, and, the whole outside is a whole different place. Animals will probably start taking over. Plants, too. If you ever saw Life After People on History Channel, it would just start taking back over, And people, I don't know, it'd just be crazy, though. To be born like that and spend your whole life relying on that bunker and the safety of it and all that. Your whole life, because you never knew anything different. Or if people were put on a spaceship and it was just a long-ass trip to move to another planet. Not Mars, but like a whole nother solar system. Say they're trying to get to the other side of the galaxy, and it's like something happened to Earth where we were all doomed, so they put people in this giant spacecraft, something where it's big enough, like a Star Wars or Star Trek thing, to where you can live your life on it. And say it's going to take 10,000 years to get where it's going. So people will be born on this spaceship having no idea what Earth was like other than what people tell them. All of their life would be known as about being on this ship. They would think that's the way the world is. That's the way life is, just on this ship. They would be born, live their life, and die on that one spot. Generation after generation after generation after generation. It would be crazy. Especially if you're like right in the middle there. So you've already had a lot of generations there, and you got a lot more coming after you, and you just know your whole life is right there. This thing's about to cut me off, so I'm going to go ahead and stop it and just start another one, because I'm on a rant here. But, alright. Intermission, I'll get to part 2.